Panthers season 2026 is back. We're going to talk about the scrimmage game against Northside this week. We're going to have a great time today. You better stick around and join us. We'll see you in a minute.
An hour ago, Theo airballed the game-winning shot. But at Zaxby's, he's dunking all over these fools. Zax sauce, bang. Tongue torch, boom. Hot honey mustard. My man's putting on a clinic.
Welcome to Dunk City.
And one, baby.
Thanks, baby. Dude. Babe, dude.
Who's got the sauce?
Zaxby's. All right, everybody, welcome back, Panther Nation. We are so excited to have you with us. We love doing this show for you so that you get the inside scoop as to everything that is going on with the Panthers. Coach Kevin, did you have a great summer?
Great summer. It flew by.
I bet it did. I bet it did. Tell me everything about how you guys have been prepping, getting ready, because we've got the Northside game coming up. And even though it's a scrimmage, it's still an in-town rival. Tell me everything.
You know, we're very excited. You know, we graduated 42 seniors last year, largest in school history. And our defensive guys, we don't, going into our scrimmage this week against Northside, we don't have any returning starters. Now, we had some guys that started some games last year and played a lot, but our big focus, big turnover has been defense. And I think our guys have made tremendous strides this summer. You know, Kyle Jones is our starting linebacker. He's sort of our quarterback on defense. You know, he's a guy that's going to really drive that unit there, I think. And then up front, we're going to have Devon James and Vince Knight. And, you know, those guys have really grown. And then in the secondary, you know, we got several guys competing back there. You know, a couple of sophomores, Kavion Davis and Jason Agolto, who is a junior, and then in our safety position, got Dane Buchanan, who's a junior. Alex Ashley is one of the lone seniors back there. Caden Davis Patterson and Jace Perriman. So both of those guys are sophomores. So once we feel like we can get it built this year, we think we're going to be sustained because, you know, our standard for defense is very high here at Perry High School. And it doesn't matter that we graduated those guys. It's next guy up, and we expect the same thing. Going into the scrimmage this week against Northside, you know, yeah, you want to have success against them, but that's not the main goal for us. Our main goal is to see where we are, see where we got to make corrections, and we don't have a week off this time to fix it. You know, we open up with Peach County next week, so just see where we are, and then if we can make some changes next week going into the opening day.
All right, so I know that going from one in-town rival to the ultimate in-town rival, wow, back to back, you guys are in for some really great beginning games in the 2026 season. So excited. All right, so let's go back and talk about temperatures. It has been crazy hot this summer. So, and that's just for us normal people. For these boys that are out there on that field in working out through that heat, through all the intense temperatures, is amazing to me. I love their dedication. I love y'all's dedication. So tell me about the summer workouts and, you know, going through all of that, and then also the preseason kind of camp.
Yeah, you know, the heat it's always hot in August. You know, late July, August, it's always hot. You know, we acclimate our guys year round. We have 3 or 4 cool zones set up around our practice field that with ice towels and fans blowing up under them. You know, and then we have to go by the wet bulb. GHSA has a wet bulb standard. When it hits a certain number, we have to be in shells. It hits another number, we can just be in helmets. So we follow those guidelines. But our guys, you know, they handle the heat pretty well. I think it's very important because this Friday night at 7:30, it's going to be hot. And if you don't practice in it, if you don't acclimate to it, I don't see how it's safe to play in it.
That's right.
So you know, I feel good about that part of that. You know, and just to get the season started, you know, this scrimmage game is going to be a big test for us.
So I think to wrap up that segment, it will be a new team, a new season, but the same standard.
That's exactly
Perry
right.
High School, Panthers. Oh my goodness. I just get so excited when we enter football season. 2026 season, guys. Here we go. We'll be back in a minute. Welcome back, everybody. Now we're going to talk about who are we at Perry High School. These Panthers have been state championships. They have went through the rigor. They have went through all of the hard work and dedication, went through a really intense heat for this summer camp, preseason camp, all of that stuff. Oh my goodness, it's been a lot. So Coach, tell me, what do you believe will be the identity of the 2026 Perry Panthers?
I think, I hadn't talked a lot about our offense yet. And I think Marty Cobb is one of our returning starters who played receiver and quarterback last year for us. He's sort of the ringleader of our guys on offense with playmakers coming back, our running back Cam Oliver and our wide receiver Bryson Gordon. And we got a couple of Dakari Felder and, Jamarian Brown and J.D. Arnett are some guys that are big-time receivers but hadn't played a lot, like J.D. hadn't played and Jamarian hadn't had as many snaps as other guys have. But I think those guys are going to make us fun to watch on offense. Josh Latson up front on Josh Latson and Johnny Clark, a couple of our returning starters up front on offensive line. I think that, those guys got a good core back, and I think we're going to be really fun to watch on offense. Our identity for this season, we live by the coffee bean culture. We really believe in playing the next play. The next game's the most important game. Being servant leaders, putting the team before myself, playing the game with humility, celebrating when it's a time to celebrate, but not ever celebrating derogatory toward our opponent.
That's right.
And controlling our controllables, what we do, what we say, what we feel, and most important, what we do. That's important to us and our culture. And, our guys have bought into that, and, we just want to keep strengthening that. And I think that our season, it's not any guarantees that just because we do things the right way that we're going to win every game.
That's right.
But what it does guarantee is when we walk on that field, we got a chance to win.
Absolutely. And it's going to keep building that character that Perry is so known for.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
love that. All right. So where have you seen the most growth through the off season?
Just like I was saying earlier, just defensively and offensively, we got a lot of guys out there. We got 6 new guys on offense. And I think those guys have gelled. They've connected. Hadn't talked about our kicking game yet. We got Carson Camp back, who was out most of last year with an injury, be a senior. John Levy is another kicker that's been with us, and our long snapper, Caden Brett. So I think that's going to be a bright spot for our team. It's a special teams area, and you got to win the game in all 3 areas, and I think I've seen growth in all 3 areas, and that's why we're excited about the scrimmage game this week to sort of see where we are.
What are the positions you're most excited to see? What are the position groups you're so excited to see about?
I think up front on defensive line, we graduated all those guys. I mentioned Vince Knight, Devon James, Jaheim Lester, Darrell Walton. We got a couple of sophomores, Cameron Rogers, Jaden Davis. I know I'm forgetting somebody, but Coach Dollar has done a great job developing those guys. And Kelvin Whitfield's another guy that's going to be playing down there. And I'm excited to see because I just really believe that's where the game's won is in the trenches. And you got to set the tone early there. So I'm just real excited about that position group. And a lot of the other position groups have really grown.
How do you feel the coffee bean culture has affected the leadership of the boys who have played for you in years past, and they're coming up and they're juniors and seniors this year? How do you feel that's affected them? And have you been able to see and had those prideful moments to be able to look and see, man, I am so proud of these guys?
Yeah, I think just seeing our kids. We have a new a graphic company called Pure Game, and they brought their staff down here. There was 4 or 5 of them taking pictures, and our guys came through. And he said, the guy said, Coach, we never when we say that coaches want to bring their freshmen to get these pictures made, we tell them not to do them because they don't know how to act. He said, your freshmen hardly said a word. And then your team, I mean,
they're very respectful.
Very respectful. Yeah. They had 3 or 4 different stations they had to go to. He said they were just so respectful. So I think that carries over out onto the field as well as being coachable and being disciplined. That it's going to help this team grow.
So how have you challenged your seniors for the team this year? What challenges have you issued for them to be able to bring that leadership and coffee bean culture forefront?
Yeah, and that's, we've challenged them, but, especially the ones that played a lot last year, like Marty Cobb and, Kyle Jones played a good bit last year. Those guys, they lead by example. And I think that, them and the coffee bean, I feel like, if I need something done on defense, I go to Kyle. If I need something done on offense, I go to Marty. And they have a way of getting the guys to, do the right thing.
Rally up together.
Rally up together.
I love that. I love that. All right, you guys, we're going to be back in just a moment to talk more. All right, everybody, just a really quick side note here. Wanted to make sure you know, of course, Zaxby sponsors. Always has, always will. And our show, we love doing this with the Perry High School Panthers and Coach Kevin, but we want to also make sure that we give a little information here. If you guys didn't know, Zaxby's is now open till 11 p.m. on Friday and Saturday night. And also, those Zax family packs are a fantastic way for you to feed your family, especially on game night or maybe during the week when supper just doesn't seem like it's going to happen. This will be really quick, and it's the most inexpensive way to feed your family. And it's a really, really great way to go. All right, as you guys know, we always have a Zaxby's Kickin' Chicken Player of the Week. But since this is the first game show of the 2026 season, we wanted to highlight and let you know. Coach Kevin picks a player each week based on integrity, morals, how they've played the game, how they've acted when they didn't quite get what they were after in the game. So integrity matters. And then, of course, school grades. All of those things are a super big, impactful decision on who Coach Kevin will choose. So stay tuned because I think we're going to do one next week.
Yes, ma'am. We're
Fantastic.
excited.
I'm excited. All right. So next week we'll have Kickin' Chicken Player of the Week. All right. You guys, we'll be right back.
It's one thing to be cool, but Zaxby's handcrafted milkshakes, those will make you cold. Cold meaning cool. Zaxby's handcrafted milkshakes. Who's got the sauce?
Zaxby's. All right, everybody, welcome back to the show. And I know that this one's a little more lengthy than normal, but it is the preseason show. We've got to give you all the information, but during this show, we also do something really fun. And this is my favorite aspect of the show, always has been. It's Coach Kevin's words of wisdom, and we call it the Feeling Station. Coach, what do you have for us this week?
I just think it's always appropriate to start off the standards to standard. The Perry High standard's been set, our football standard's been set by, players before us, and the senior group in this class is pushing that standard up. And I think that's most important because nobody's bigger than the standard.
Right.
We don't lower our standard for a player and we don't raise it for just one player, So I think it's very important to be consistent, be fair, and make everyone meet a standard.
Couldn't have said it better myself. All right, you guys, we'll be right back. All right, everybody, we reached the end of our show, and we're going to ask just a couple more questions of Coach Kevin. I love being able to pick your brain to know what is thinking behind that wonderful person that you are. So why do we play a scrimmage? I'm curious.
Yeah, just like we said earlier in the interview is, just to see where we are,
Right.
Get the first game jitters out from under us and, guys out on the field for the first time, getting that up under their belt and seeing where we are.
I think it's so important to know that you get to know these players on a personal level as far as you know them, you know their home life, you know their grades, you know their character, and you've seen their drive and ambition throughout the whole thing. So the players' live reps before regular season, Is this also a part where you get to see kind of their character coming out?
Oh, absolutely. You know, that water's going to get hot. It's going to get hot, and we want to see how they're going to react to adversity, because it's not when if adversity is going to hit, it's when it's going to hit.
Absolutely. Well, you guys, we have a fantastic season for you. I know you're going to stay tuned. I know you're going to watch, subscribe, share, do all the things, because we want this brand to grow. All right, everybody, have a great week. We'll see you next week. Go Panthers!